Hello, everyone. Welcome to another session of Star Trek Adventures. Today, it is my treat. I get to actually be a player. So often, I am the GM, the DM, whatever you call it. Very rarely do I actually get to play. So this is a real privilege for me. And my friend Thomas in Rome is going to run the session. This is going to be a one-on-one Star Trek Adventures session where I'm playing a con officer. And I've got a couple of supporting cast members aboard Runabout with me, and we're going to run a mission. So with that, I will turn it over to Thomas, and we will get started.
Okay. Yeah, just some basic kind of information, just to put everyone into perspective of kind of the timeline that we're in. The wormhole, the Bajoran Wormhole, has just been discovered, has just been found out. So pretty much almost all of DS9 has not happened yet at this point. And so what this mission is going to be about then is kind of that first exploration into the Gamma Quadrant by some of Starfleet. In particular, they're looking to help out Bajor because they're very interested in finding a colony in the Gamma Quadrant as part of kind of their connection then to have people on both sides of the Celestial Temple. So that's kind of the scenario for getting things started. We'll have our con officer read his mission log as he's starting off the session.
Excellent. So this is from the perspective of Lieutenant Junior Grade Zath Azonan, an Andorian con officer stationed aboard the USS Wope, but currently on Runabout in the Gamma Quadrant. Mission Officer's Log, Stardate 46379.1. Our research team is halfway through completing our survey mission in Gamma Sector 0012A to locate a suitable planet for the new Bajor colony. Long-range sensors had identified 8 potential planets in this sector. The first 5 planets have been determined to be unsuitable for the first Alpha Quadrant colony in the Gamma Quadrant. 2 already possess sentient, though non-spacefaring beings, while the remaining 3 Class M planets were not within tolerable limits for the agricultural endeavors of the future colonists. When we arrive at planetoid 0012A34 and conduct our initial scans of the planet, we will contact the USS Wope for our routine check-in. We should reach the coordinates of that 6th planet in our mission brief within the hour. The mission team has served with merit during our uneventful mission.
Okay. And so as we start off, just to kind of let you know what the directives for this particular mission are, in of course, addition to the Prime Directive, which is pretty much always there, 1, to seek out new life and new civilizations, 2, to catalog planets in the assigned sector, and 3, just as a safety protocol, of course, to check in to the USS Wope about every 24 hours. That's kind of your standard cycle for doing that. I will begin the game with 2 threats, and then Lieutenant Azonan will have 1 point of determination to use as well as they see fit. Okay, so aboard the shuttlecraft, you've been basically, it's kind of been a tedious kind of a thing. It's not the most plum assignment, but it's one of those things. You're one of the first people out in the Gamma Quadrant. You're one of the first explorers. So it's kind of one of those assignments that, even though it's not necessarily the best assignment, it's one that pretty much any Starfleet officer would be dying to have, to get out into the unknown, into this new world. So as your shuttlecraft then drops out of warp, you enter a binary star system for planetoid 0012A-34. As the pilot begins to plot a course to the planet under observation, you receive what the computer reports as a corrupted digital transmission. What do you do?
I'm with me on board the Runabout, I have 2 other support characters. One is an unjoined Trill. He's a security officer named Drolan Vegas, and the other is a human science officer named Eliza Latham. And I would ask Lieutenant Latham to see if she can analyze this transmission to, you said it's corrupted?
Yeah, it's a corrupted, kind of a corrupted digital transmission, yes.
Okay, then I'll ask her if she can clean it up and make any sense of it.
Okay, so that'll be a reason plus engineering task with a difficulty of 1. And of course, the Runabout's able to assist as well with a computer plus engineering task.
Okay, so Eliza's reason plus, you said engineering?
Engineering, yeah.
Okay, that's target number 13. And I got 1 success there, so also roll for the ship?
Yeah, the ship as well. Computers and engineering.
Computers and engineering, which is 9, okay. And did not get any successes there, so 1 success.
Okay. You had the one success, which is what you needed. You just didn't gain any momentum off this one. What you're able to kind of obtain at this point, it is a repeating pattern of mathematical formulas, but it does, as you're kind of clearing some of that distortion up, there is an audio message that seems to be a part of that as well, and it reads as follows: "Greetings, Offworlders. On behalf of the people of Geba 10, we respectfully and with great honor invite you to visit our world." The message you're able to kind of gather from what else is in the signal has been traveling at a sublight speed for some time, and does appear to have originated from planetoid 0012A-34, the very one that you guys are going to check out.
Okay, well, clearly this planet, because it already seems to have an intelligent population, that means it's probably not suitable for the new Bajor colony, which is a bit of a disappointment, but we're being invited to make first contact, and part of our mission objective is to seek out new life. So do I get the sense, is this a recorded message, or can I respond to it?
It seems to be a repeated one that just kind of on a bit of a loop, and it's probably one. I mean, you can always attempt to try to send a message back. However, given the relative speed that this thing has been going, and it's obviously been out here in the ether for quite a while at this point.
Okay, well, I think part of our objective is to seek out new life, so I think we need to investigate the source of this transmission. I will try to send an automated response, just like a quick message received, and we intend to arrive shortly. Okay.
All right. It won't take you too long. You're going to be going in kind of sublight speeds while you're in the system itself. So it is going to take you a little bit of time to get there. Is there anything that you want to do in preparation before you arrive in orbit around the planet?
No, I think so. Lieutenant Azonan is pretty inexperienced, and one of his values is full speed ahead. He's excited to be in the Gamma Quadrant, excited to be experiencing the unknown. And so I would just want to lay in a course to try and figure out the source of this transmission, and see if we can get down there. I guess it would be irresponsible not to at least scan the planet. Let's do a sensor sweep of the planet just to see what kind of atmosphere is down there, gravity, stuff like that.
Okay, so it would be a reason plus science task, and then with the runabout assisting as sensors plus science with a difficulty of 0.
Okay, so I'll have Eliza Latham, the science officer, run the sensor sweep. Lieutenant, please do a cursory sweep of the system and see what we got down there. Again, she gets 1 success, and then you said the runabout is computers plus science? Is that what you said?
Sensors plus science, because you're your sensors.
Okay, cool. Okay, 2 successes. Got a success for the ship as well.
Okay, so since it was difficulty of 0, you have gained 2 momentum now at this point. Surprisingly, as you begin the sensor scan, it's not able to pick up, literally nothing off the planet's surface itself. There seems to be some sort of electrostatic field that seems to be around the planet that seems to be interfering with your sensors. If you didn't know better, it's almost as if it's just bouncing it back off into space.
Okay, can I spend those momentum for additional information?
Certainly you can.
Okay, I'll spend 1 to, does Lieutenant Latham think that this is an artificial energy field, or is it naturally occurring?
From what you can tell, the computer itself is unable to determine if it is a natural or an artificial. However, her kind of gut instinct says it's probably natural.
Fascinating. And then I will spend the other momentum to find out if the energy field would interfere with transporters, or if it would keep us from landing on the planet.
Okay, and yeah, as far as you can tell, it is an impenetrable field. So at this point, you're not quite sure how it is possible that the transmission that you received even would have necessarily been able to get through, because it really seems to kind of lock the planet down electronically.
Fascinating. And you said we think this is naturally occurring?
She has a suspicion. She can't prove it because the computer is unsure. But given some of the data that she's received, she's led to believe that it's possibly natural in origin. Yes.
Okay. Well, clearly this planet would be unsuitable for the new Bajor colony, but this is an intriguing puzzle, and I think it is worth our time to investigate and find out what the source of this field is and find out what's down there.
Okay. So as you begin to kind of move in, after maneuvering through the system on impulse power, you entered kind of a standard high orbit around Gamma 10. Before you even have an opportunity to give the order to even begin more detailed scans of the planet, the runabout receives a hail from the planet's surface.
Yeah, let's put it on screen.
Okay, it pops up, and there is a kind of a middle-aged humanoid figure who introduces himself as Prescott Cullis. Greetings, I am Prescott Cullis, a speaker for the Leth Geb. We welcome you to Geba 10 and look forward to peaceful cooperations between our cultures. It is our pleasure to invite you here to our planet.
Thank you. Does this person look human? The name kind of sounds human.
He's humanoid, so kind of a little bit of a bluish kind of tinge to the skin tone. There are also kind of nasal ridges on the nose, as well as kind of the ears kind of fan out a little bit.
Okay. Well, thank you for your welcome. We represent the United Federation of Planets, civilization on the other side of a wormhole in the Alpha Quadrant. We are on a simple mission of exploration here in the Gamma Quadrant, and one of our highest ideals is to make peaceful first contact with other civilizations. And so you have my greetings on behalf of the United Federation of Planets.
Thank you, revered offworlders. It is one of our greatest pleasures to be able to meet people of your kind. If there's anything that we can do, we are happy to welcome you to our planet. We invite you to come down for a visit, and anything to make your stay with us an opportunity for a good exchange, the most pleasant we can.
Yes, that sounds most appealing to us. Unfortunately, our sensors indicate there's some kind of powerful energy field surrounding your planet that would prevent us from transporting down.
You may want to check your sensors again. Sometimes when you're farther out, we do have a unique atmosphere, and it makes things a little bit more difficult sometimes. But if you check your sensors again, I'm sure you'll see that things are much more conducive to communication and transport between our peoples.
So Lieutenant Azonan would have kind of a puzzled look, but he says, very well, Lieutenant Latham, please conduct another scan.
Okay. Reason plus science, of course, again, difficulty of 0.
Okay, that time she got 3 successes. She rolled a
3 successes.
1.
Wow. Yep. All right, and if you wish, just to build up some momentum, the ship, of course, it's sensors plus science as well.
Okay. Which is 8. Nope, no help from the ship.
Okay, so you get three momentum gained from that. As she's scanning, there still seems to be there is an element of the electrostatic field. The barrier is still there as well, but it does seem from your previous scans to be weakened from what it was before. And you're at this point now, you're fairly certain you'll be able to both transport, and obviously you're having communication between it now as well. So
I would mute the channel with the planet and say, Lieutenant Latham, is there any chance that you could have made a mistake on the first sensor scan? Is there any explanation you can come up with for this sudden change?
She kind of looks at you, kind of your questioner, and one of her focuses, of course, is sensor system. So that's something she knows very, very well. But she says, of course, being human, all things are possible, Lieutenant, but all I know is that before there was a problem, and now the sensors seem to be indicating that things are, though not completely clear, are definitely within Federation standards for transport.
So Lieutenant Azanon's antenna kind of drooped down for a second as he thinks, and then he opens the channel again, and he says, we would be pleased to travel down to your planet and make official first contact.
It would be our honor to welcome you here, good off-worlders. Now, your other support character, Drolin Vagus, does just want to remind you of Starfleet protocol, that it might be better to leave someone up on the shuttlecraft since we are going into an uncharted territory. But you're the captain here, boss.
I think that's a wise precaution. The inhabitants of the planet seem friendly, but I think it would be wise, Lieutenant Vegas, if you came with me, and Lieutenant Latham, if you wouldn't mind staying up here on the ship and running continuous sensor sweeps and stay in regular contact with Lieutenant Vegas and myself, and also make sure you send regular updates back through the wormhole to the Wope.
Aye, sir. Do you want me to? How often do you want me to send responses back to the Wope?
For now, you can just stick with our regularly scheduled transmission at least once every 24 hours, and update them at your discretion if anything out of the ordinary happens that you think you need to let the ship know about.
Aye, Captain. Okay, so Prescott Cullis says, whenever you are ready, we are prepared to beam you down to the surface.
So right before we beam down, Lieutenant Azonan looks at the other two officers on the runabout and says, I think this is a terrific opportunity to make first contact with a new civilization for the first time on this side of the wormhole. And I think this is going to look really good on our mission transcripts, and hopefully, maybe this will put us up for a promotion if this goes well. So let's make sure that we put the best foot forward possible for Starfleet. And Lieutenant Vegas, let's get down there.
Okay, and as kind of you give your speech, Lieutenant Vegas does kind of the Picard maneuver to kind of straighten up his uniform a little bit more as he prepares to beam down with you. So I assume you give the signal then to Prescott Cullis that you're ready to beam down.
Yep.
Okay. So we're changing scenes at this point then. So your momentum drops down to 2 because you lose 1 momentum when we change scenes. So as you kind of materialize, in a large receiving chamber. Prescott Cullis is present to greet you, as well as a host of other dignitaries to whom you were introduced. Following a ceremony of thanks reception, the speaker leads the mission team to a small chamber filled with Getatenians, delicacies, and his closest advisors. So it's kind of a little cocktail party in your honor and kind of welcoming you to the planet. Gives you an opportunity to kind of mingle with some of the dignitaries that are there, ask questions if you so wish, etc. Because it seems that pretty much everybody wants to talk to you. They're all very excited about the coming of off-worlders to their planet.
And so Prescott Cullis, does he have a title? Did he give me a title that I can use?
He has. He referred to himself as the Speaker of the Lith Geb, and he called himself Prescott Cullis. Yes.
Okay. So, Mr. Speaker.
Yes, Reverend Off-Worlder.
Please tell me about your civilization. What probably our most important mission? We're explorers. We explore the cosmos, and we try to, as I said, make peaceful first contact with other civilizations. So please tell me about yourselves and about this planet.
Well, we are of course honored to have you here, and as you are people, off-worlders who seek to learn about new people, it is good for us since you are the first off-worlders that have ever visited our planet, and so we are very pleased to have you here. We are a people of great faith, of great respect for the gods, and we have, over the last 150 years, we have made wonderful scientific advancements as we've continued to grow, and up to 30% of our population of the Lith Geb are able to focus all of their attention solely on art and on science.
And have you, kind of nervously, Lieutenant Azonan asks, and have you also explored the stars as we have?
Unfortunately, we have not yet been able to do that. But let me introduce you. I'm sure there is one of our Acotes would love to meet you, and so he calls over a fellow by the name of Akole Macros. And he's very interested in learning about your propulsion system, and he begins talking in depth on a very theoretical on warp technology. You can kind of tell because you're a con officer, so you have some knowledge and understanding of the way, not the same way as an engineer would, but you have a lot of the basics and things like that. That this is obviously someone who knows a lot about the theory of warp technology, but not the practical sides of warp technology.
Yeah, I would, maybe I can make some kind of presence roll or insight roll about, I clearly don't want to give away the specifics of our technology, but I would engage in the conversation and try to see if this civilization is not yet warp capable, but they do have some kind of theoretical understanding of warp. How did that come about? Have they learned from other places, or are they just kind of on the precipice of achieving warp technology?
Okay. Well, as they have already kind of mentioned, you are the first off-worlders that they have come in contact with. But yeah, if you want to do a, let's see, what's better for you, insight or reason?
Reason. Oh wait,
okay, so
sorry, I was looking at the wrong paper sheet. Insight.
Insight. So let's go insight, and since you're talking theory craft, let's go insight plus science. With a difficulty of 1. You have 2 momentum, just as a reminder.
Okay, so that's a target number of 11. Okay. Yeah, I'll use a momentum. You know what? I'll pay a threat.
You'll pay a threat. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. 1 success.
Okay, so that's what you needed. So basically, you're wanting to find out kind of where they're at in their terms of development of warp technology. Is that the basic kind of gist you're trying to get at?
Yes, and I'm trying to be polite and address their questions, but also very intentionally not giving too much away about the specifics of Starfleet warp capabilities, Starfleet warp propulsion, stuff like that.
Okay, so as you're kind of talking with them and discussing with Acolte Macros, it does seem very evident as you're talking that give it about 10 more years, and they might have a working model of a warp core.
And so you are sending transmissions into space, inviting us down here, yet you have not been able to achieve space travel yourselves. That seems like an interesting contradiction.
Basically, Acolte Macros kind of responds back. It's a part of who we are. We are people who are constantly trying to better ourselves and become greater. And we know that the gods are beyond us, that they're out there somewhere. And so we seek to have contact with them, and we seek then to do that. And part of the way that we did that was to reach out through our message that we sent to the stars.
So the message was meant for your deities.
The message is meant for whoever is to come, and we are greatly appreciative of your arrival and honored.
At this point, Lieutenant Azonan is starting to think maybe it was a bad idea to come down here, that maybe he's contaminating the civilization, which has not yet achieved warp technology. And so he kind of approaches Lieutenant Vegas and takes him aside and says, so what is your assessment here, Lieutenant?
Well, there's a lot about them, sir, that I would say in any other given situation, in a few years, they might be people that would be able to apply for membership in the Federation. Granted, of course, they have not yet achieved warp technology, but as what you've described from your conversation with Akote Makros, they're not far from that. And they obviously have knowledge of people from the outside world of some degree or of some form, whether it be their gods or whomever.
Well, I suppose we're here, and we can't undo that. And I agree that their level of sophistication does indicate that they're at least very much on the verge of warp technology. And you know what? There have been plenty of instances where the Prime Directive has been bent by some of the best captains in our history books. So yeah, let's see if we can find out a little bit more about this civilization and where they intend to go from here.
Okay.
So I would go back to the Speaker Colas, and say, we're here on a survey mission looking for uninhabited planets for a new colony. Do you have knowledge, astronomical knowledge of surrounding space, and do you have any recommendations for such a planet that would support life but doesn't currently have an intelligent civilization?
So as he's beginning to kind of respond to that, almost immediately, there kind of seems to be kind of a fidgety individual, kind of an overexcited. That'd probably be another way to describe it. Kind of an overexcited individual, kind of comes up to you and bows extremely low before you, and just kind of blurts out, "What gifts have you brought? What gifts have you brought?" And then you notice though that Prescott Colas kind of quiet now. Akote Daemon, this is not the time for this. We will discuss this later. You need to leave now at this point. And then he turns back to you and says, my apologies. Obviously that Prescott Daemon has had a little bit too much Gesslian wine. So please excuse his behavior. He meant no offense.
None taken. We have plenty of instances. One of our highest values is that we don't judge other civilizations by the standards of our own. And while it would be improper for me to give you gifts of technology, that would be against our rules and customs. I could perhaps give you the gift of some of our civilization's artistic achievements, perhaps some novels, some music that we could transfer, on a pad, on a data pad, or something like that.
Whatever, it's really nothing that is of significance at this time. It's just an old custom that we have here, that when new friends meet, we exchange gifts, and we do not expect anything of you at this point because you are unaware of our customs. But like I said, please excuse Akote Daemon's rude behavior.
Of course.
It kind of. Before he turns back to your answer, he kind of signals for another person to come over, and he introduces a person that he refers to as Veur Ninan, and says that he is kind of the head of kind of security for the Lithgeb people, and because you're guests here, and we want you to kind of experience as much as you can about our world, he will escort you and provide you then with a kind of a tour of the capital, and you must, of course, you should both visit the Ashunte market, where some of our finest sculptors, our finest artisans show their wares, as well as, of course, a visit to our holy temple, the sanctuary of Gabanaten.
We would be honored to tour your wondrous city.
Oh, very good. And Neur Nitan will take care of anything that you have any request of, as he kind of begins the process of kind of, you do get a little bit of a feeling that he's kind of moving you along, just so you're kind of aware of that at this point. Okay.
Noted.
Okay. So as you go through, Veur Nitan kind of arranges a very diligent, but kind of a diplomatic tour of various parts of their capital city, which Veur Nitan refers to as Sanctum. So that's the name of the capital. The final two destinations that all of you are going to be visiting are the Ashunta Market and the Sanctuary of Gabatan. which were the two places that he had recommended that you go see. During the visit to the Ashunta market, however, there is a commotion that seems to be occurring over at the northern edge, and you start to kind of hear kind of chants that are going up in the northern edge of the market that says messages to the off-worlders. Distinctly kind of resonates from that particular area. Vajoran apologizes, but asks your leave in order to make sure that there are no problems. And he has one of the other people that kind of accompany him, kind of being your protection detail, Vayor McTall, to kind of watch over you in the meantime and kind of continue the tour as he goes and takes care of whatever that disturbance might be, so it doesn't cause you a problem. So he kind of leaves.
Yeah, how close are we to this disturbance? Can I make out any detail of what's going on?
From where you can see, from where you're at, it is a good distance off. It'll take you a couple of minutes to walk over that area, but there just seems to kind of be a mass of people just kind of moving about over in that area. That's what you're able to kind of tell from this distance.
I would turn to the security officer who's left with us, and I say, I hope that our presence here isn't causing any kind of problems for your city.
Oh no, it's just when off-worlders visit, this is the first time that this has happened, and it's just got people a little bit excited, a little bit emotional about what's going on. It's as Vayor Nitan said, this is nothing to concern yourself with. It's just a kind of a precaution. But if please let's go take a look at some of the cheese vendors.
Can I make an insight roll to see, what this security officer is really thinking? Is there something they're not telling me?
Sure. Yeah, you can do. So that would be insight plus command with a difficulty of 1. You do have two momentum. Just as a reminder.
I think I'll save those. So this would be a difficulty 12. Or the target number of 12. I got 1 success.
Okay. All right. What you can kind of tell is he seems to be a little bit uncomfortable with the situation as it currently is.
Hey, Lanny. Lieutenant Azonan would maybe try just one more time to see if he can get this officer to tell me a little bit more about what's making him uncomfortable.
Okay. It would be in this case, it's going to be a contested persuasion task. Okay. So presence plus command again with a difficulty of 1, but it is a contested task. So the Vayor will also be rolling as well.
I would just, is there something that we can do perhaps to quell these concerns? And I got 1 success.
All right, I got 2 successes. So he's pretty. He's very tight-lipped, and seems to be kind of a go-by-the-book type of individual. And because his commanding officer has kind of considered best course of action is to continue on the tour, that's kind of what it is that he wants to do. Okay.
Then we'll go along with it, but I do tell the security officer, if I continue to get the sense that our presence here is disrupting the normal course of your society, then we will have to return to our ship.
Oh, I assure you that will not be a problem. That will not be an issue. But please, let's continue on our way. As you guys are kind of continuing to move through the market, there does seem to be a lot of interest is being taken in the two of you. That people are kind of very, very interested, and you actually hear a couple of people kind of talking and murmuring among themselves. It's just kind of snippets of conversation, but you can sometimes hear a little bit of that as you're kind of going through. And one of the things that you hear is, my messages must have been heard. And another thing that you hear is, what new gifts have they brought? So you're kind of hearing these as you're going through. Like I said, you have a lot of people seem to be cramming closer and closer to you, and obviously the Vayor McTall is kind of, you can tell he's getting visibly nervous about things and is very much trying to kind of keep people back. But the next thing then that the lieutenant is able to kind of notice is that the next thing that happens is he does see a very elderly Gabatinian woman who is standing right next to him. And in kind of a very, very kind of low voice, just really only wanting you to hear, she asked you a question. Are you of the Geb or of the Aten?
So Lieutenant Azonan, part of him really digs the attention that he's getting, and he wants to be the paragon, of what it means to be a Starfleet officer on a first contact mission. So he kind of straightens up and pulls down his uniform tunic, and he says, he's kind of waving to people in the crowd, and he says, "I am of Starfleet, and we are here to make peaceful first contact with your civilization and to learn from you."
She doesn't seem to it doesn't seem to kind of register what you say, but the next thing you notice is that she looks down at her chronometer and just responds, "Doesn't matter, the time is now, we must go." And then you dematerialize, and as you begin the process of being dematerializing, you feel the rumblings of an earthquake. Aftershock is going on. And the final thing that you hear before transporting it out of the market is someone shouts, "The Letha 10 are retaliating." Okay. We are changing scenes. So you now have one momentum. So as you rematerialize, there is kind of a brief moment of disorientation. I mean, you're a person that's used to transporting on a regular basis, being on a starship. This is obviously a type of transport, even different than the one that you received when the Lift Geb brought you down to Geba 10. But this one kind of disorients you slightly. But as you kind of shake off its effects, you find yourself in what appears to be a side chamber. With an exit opening into a larger chamber that's about 15 meters from where you materialize. The area is illuminated solely by candles, and the whole area is kind of permeated by the smell of incense. The elderly Gabatenian who had stood next to you and kind of asked you the question places herself between you and the exit and makes a profound bow before you in supplication and says, "My apologies, off-worlders, for my behavior, but it was necessary to ensure no harm came to you." 3 additional Gabatenians enter into the chamber and perform very similar acts of an extreme bow before you. What do you do?
I walk over to them and physically try to lift them up, try to get them back on their feet. No. You don't bow to us. We are equals here, and we want to learn from you as much as you want to learn from us. Were you responsible for bringing us here?
But you are off-worlders. Do you not have the power to move from place to place?
We do. It's technology that we call transporters.
Yes, we know of such gifts.
Gifts?
Yes.
Who gave you this gift?
Unfortunately, that is one of the darker periods of our more recent history. But I'm surprised you, as an off-worlder, are unaware of what has been going on. Have you not heard the messages that we have sent to you?
We picked up only a single message right before we arrived here. We come from the other side of the galaxy, very, very far away. We're explorers.
The great power that the off-worlders have. Yes, of course. But no, you must have heard more messages. We send them daily, all the time, constantly. In the sanctuary, we are always offering our messages. Have you not heard them?
The first message we heard from your planet was just today. I'm curious about your faith and its understanding of off-worlders. What does your faith tell you about off-worlders?
Your transport through the barrier must have rattled your memory. I'm so sorry, revered off-worlders, that this has happened to you. But yes, I will fill you in on any information. But these were things that you should know. But yes, we are a very religious people, and we worship the gods of Geb and Aten. We ourselves are Lith Aten, and so we primarily worship the god of Aten as opposed to the others, the ones who have corrupted the faith, the Lith Geb, and they primarily worship Geb. But no, you are the Offworlders.
Yes, we are Offworlders, but I think maybe there's been a misunderstanding here, and it is not my responsibility to pass any kind of judgment on your faith or your beliefs, but we are not any kind of deities. We are equals. We are beings of flesh and blood, just like you. It's just that we explore the stars in technology that we call starships that's capable of taking us across the galaxy. We hope to learn from you as much as you hope to learn from us.
The humility that you teach us, of course, is one of the things that we have in our sacred text. Why can't I remember it at the moment? The path of fulfillment. Yes, it's there that we must show great humility in our daily lives, so that we do know that you speak about being from another part of the galaxy. That is, of course, great power, and I'm so sad that that our barrier has caused these problems in your memory. But yes, we have been expecting you. Even, unfortunately, many of your avatars have also arrived as well in previous time over the last 150 years, after the wretched apostasy of the Leth Geb, having sent I hate to pronounce it in your presence, but electronic messages. Since then, more of you Offworld has arrived, and they have done horrible sacrileges in the name of stealing gifts from the Offworlders.
You said something about avatars. Are we not the first Offworlders to visit?
There have been, over the last 150 years, we have been blessed with the arrival of either avatars of the Offworlders or the Offworlders themselves on at least 30 different occasions.
And they've brought you gifts.
Unfortunately, the Leth Geb have asked for gifts, but the Offworlders saw the evil that was in their hearts, and they refused to give them. And so the Leth Geb, they abused them terribly, and then they were forced, and they stole the gifts from the Offworlders.
And so you are opposed to the Leth Geb.
Yes, they are opposed to the Leth Aten are opposed to the Leth Geb. Yes.
Okay, so Lieutenant Azonan and Lieutenant Vegas are no longer like under the watchful eye of the security people who brought us here.
You got transported out from under their noses. Yes.
Okay. So we've been kind of kidnapped. Okay.
For your protection, they say.
Of course. So Lieutenant Azonan would say, "Can I just have one moment, please?" To the old lady.
Whatever you wish, revered Offworlders. We will wait outside the chamber for you, as she and the other three begin to exit.
You got to stop calling me revered. I don't want you to revere me. But yes, I will just take a moment to confer with my companion here.
As you wish, honored Offworlder.
Yeah.
As she leaves.
So if we've got a moment, first I would tap my comm badge and try to contact the runabout. Is that possible?
Nothing happens. Nothing happens.
I will take my tricorder out and do a scan and see if I suspect that energy field we first encountered is maybe back in place. Is that correct?
So yeah, you can either you only have one momentum. You can either roll for it. I can just give it to you if you wish, or you can roll to try to get some momentum built up, whichever your choice is.
Yeah, I'll roll for it.
Okay. Difficulty of 0.
What's the attribute and discipline?
Oh, that would be let's say control plus. Are you better at science or engineering?
Science.
All right, then control plus science.
One success.
One success. You've got one momentum, total of 2 momentum. Yeah, as you're kind of scanning, there doesn't seem to be anything above you. That the electrostatic barrier is fully intact. And from what you can tell from from the scans from before, they seem to be registering as you had on your initial scan. Back when you first entered the star system, not when you rescanned again in orbit.
Okay, so I speak in kind of a hushed tone to Lieutenant Vegas, and I say it appears we've been cut off from our runabout. It also appears as if we are not the first visitors from off-world here. Do you agree with that assessment, Lieutenant Vegas?
It seems to be so, sir. I think we have we've been brought here under false pretenses, and given everything that's happened, I mean, we've been kidnapped twice at this point in the space of 2 hours.
Well, I would say that as far as first contacts go, this one has not been the most successful. Our number one priority has to be able to get back to the runabout, or at least send a message to the runabout back to Lieutenant Latham. I also think we need to find out more about the relationship between the left Geb and the left. What was the other word that they used?
Left Geb and left Aten. Basically, one worships Geb and the other worships Aten, primarily.
Okay. And they appear to oppose one another. Is that your assessment? Your security assessment, Lieutenant Vegas?
From what I can tell, they definitely don't seem to be on the same side, since our new captives, I guess, sir, seem to say that they're protecting us from the left Geb. Okay.
Well, they seem to, as much as I hate to say this, they seem to revere us, or at least give us a lot of respect. So maybe they can help us send a message back to the runabout. Let's ask them about that.
Okay, so as you begin the process of kind of moving out into the outside of that side chamber. Now, before we do that, though, I think, since you've already made mention of the runabout, we might as well do a quick cutscene over to your poor lieutenant, who is kind of stuck up there by herself. So we can kind of do this kind of adrift in orbit type of scene over there.
Okay.
So basically, what was her name again?
Her name is Lieutenant Eliza Latham.
All right, so Lieutenant Latham, basically almost immediately after you guys had, I shouldn't say immediately, after you guys had gone down there, she was able to kind of follow your vital signs for everything, just kind of keeping everything seemed to be the way it was supposed to be. But then probably about half hour after you were gone, all of a sudden, completely cut off again. And so she spent basically the last hour and a half, the time that you guys have been doing all of this that's been on, trying to reestablish contact with you guys as on the away team, as you disappeared from sensors. So that's kind of where she's at. What does she do? So she's been about 2 hours up here trying to get a hold of you guys again.
So she would dispatch a message to the Hobei?
The Wope? Yeah, if that's what you want to do at this point, or if you want to wait a little bit longer, but that's up to you.
I think she would do that once she lost contact with the away team, and it appeared that she was no longer able to even get a message through to them. Then she would update her ship.
Okay, but she would have taken a little bit of time in order to just kind of confirm it wasn't a malfunction on her part. But yeah, so she contacts back the captain on the Wope, and she comes again across. What's the name of your captain?
We'll go with Captain McHenry.
McHenry, okay.
Captain Lois McHenry.
Lois McHenry. So you've got a human captain on ship. Okay. It's a little bit. She's kind of surprised a little bit that you're contacting her early, because you guys weren't supposed to contact her for probably about another 20 hours at this point. But she comes up on your screen. What seems to be the problem, Lieutenant? You're not supposed to check in for another 20 hours or so. What's going on?
Yes, I know, Captain. We were conducting our survey of planetoid 0012A-34, and we received a transmission from the planet's surface, from a civilization inviting us down to the surface for a first contact situation. Lieutenants Vegas and Azonan went down there at their invitation, and suddenly an energy field has sprung into place, and I can no longer contact the away team. So I am I wanted to update you to let you know about our situation here.
Is there anything to make you to suspect at this point that their lives are in danger?
Well, the energy field, frankly, no, sir. The energy field, we observed it when we first entered the system, and then it kind of vanished, which allowed the away team to beam down, and now it's back in place. It seems, I suspect it's maybe naturally occurring, but I can't really lock it down. It's preventing me from getting any kind of transmission, communication through, and I certainly can't beam them back up either.
Okay. So from what I'm hearing, you have lost contact, but at this point you don't feel that it is an emergency situation. I can task for someone from DS9 to make their way out to try to help you in this, unless you feel that there is something else that needs to be done.
No, I don't think that's necessary yet, Captain. I just wanted to make sure you were aware of the situation.
Okay. Well, if things change, we will immediately dispatch a rescue ship if that is what is required. In the meantime, I suggest you see if you could continue to try to make contact. Is there any way that you could possibly try to land the ship, land the shuttlecraft onto the planet's surface?
I worry that the same energy field might cause problems to the runabout, but I suppose there's only one way to find out.
Okay. Well, gather as much information as you possibly can before attempting anything, and I will leave it at your discretion at what is best. If you feel that there is any reason that you need assistance, please immediately contact us, and we will dispatch someone from Deep Space Nine in order to assist you immediately.
Aye, Captain.
I will warn you, though, that ETA from Deep Space Nine at this point would be about 28 hours.
So we're on our own, at least for a little while.
Until you signal us again, yes.
Understood, sir.
Okay. This is the Wope out. Okay. So, what does she want to do?
Well, Captain ordered Lieutenant Latham to gather as much sensor data as possible about what's going on down there. So she would, and she's a sensors expert, so I guess she would conduct another sensor scan, focusing on the energy field. That seems to be the most pressing concern right now, because that's keeping her from being in touch with the away team.
Okay. All right. Quick question, just because she would be a sensor expert, just as a reminder, you can send out a probe to assist you in gathering information, which does decrease difficulty down by 1 if you wish to try that.
Yeah, let's try the probe and see how the energy field affects the probe. That would be useful information as well.
Okay. So if I remember correctly, I don't think it requires a roll to send a probe out. I'm pretty sure it doesn't. Let me check real quick.
Okay.
I think probes are just free, aren't they?
I don't remember.
I'm pretty sure they are, but let me... I was thinking they were. I don't find it in the index, so I'm just going to say that they are, because, I mean, it's a routine thing. You just send out a probe.
Okay.
So let's just send that out. So as you send out the probe, it begins to kind of enter into the electrostatic barrier itself, and as it's doing that, it seems to be going and kind of entering into the barrier, and then all of a sudden it immediately loses all power.
Well, that's concerning.
So you have a probe that is kind of partially wedged into the barrier and partially not wedged in the barrier, but it's been completely sucked of all energy.
And so this is like a physical barrier. This isn't just an energy barrier. The probe is like stuck.
Well, it is an energy barrier, but because of the way it basically lost all power, so it's unable to kind of continue to move. And so it's just kind of been caught into the gravitational pull of the planet. It's just now part of its orbit.
Okay, and did I get any telemetry from the probe before it lost power?
You can try to retrieve some data from the probe because, as I said, part of it's in the area and part of it's out of the area.
All right, so yeah, Eliza's working furiously in the co-pilot seat of the runabout, trying to get whatever data she can from the probe.
Okay, control plus engineering task, difficulty of 1, because unfortunately the probe isn't going to be able to help itself in its own sensor suite.
And I've got some momentum, yeah?
You do have 2 momentum, right? And then the shuttlecraft can also assist with sensors plus engineering.
Okay, so I'll spend 1 momentum.
All right, to gain a dice. Got it?
Oh, no. Okay. No successes. You said it's control plus engineering?
Control plus engineering.
Okay. Then what is for the ship?
Sensors plus engineering. But if you didn't get any successes, the ship wouldn't be able to help them.
Oh, yeah, you're right. Okay, yeah. So,
now,
I mean, she's just not, she's furiously trying to get that telemetry from the probe, but the energy field has just seemed to disrupt any of its normal operating, and whatever data she's getting back is corrupted, and she can't make heads or tails of it.
Mm-hmm. Okay. It's kind of all garbled. Things are just not kind of going out through. Just a reminder, though, if you wish, you can succeed at cost. So you can gain at least something from that and have a complication be the result, if you wish to do that or not.
Sure. Yeah, I think that sounds fun. She's like she's feeling a little bit worried. Her anxiety level is rising. She's alone in this runabout, and she would really like to know what's going on with her fellow officers down on the planet. So yeah, let's do that.
Okay, actually, I like that then, because she's a bit kind of on the frazzled side. What we'll do then is kind of as long as she is alone by herself, and she's kind of frazzled, not be able to communicate, things are not seeming to work well for her. Whenever she has to use let's say her control attribute, it'll increase the difficulty by 1. So whenever she has something that she needs to do that has control, her difficulty will be increased by 1. That'll be the kind of the complication as a result of that, because you're just a little frazzled. Okay, +1 on control. All right. What she is able in the midst of all that, so she's trying her darndest. She's worried about her comrades down on the surface. She's not sure what's going on with them. She's just seen a probe that shouldn't have any problem go through, but scattered data that she's able to get is that it seems then that there was some sort of naturally occurring electromagnetic pulse, EMP, that was able then to kind of penetrate the weak shields of the probe and then attack the electrical systems of the probe. Okay.
And once again, she still suspects that this is naturally occurring.
Yes.
Okay.
There doesn't seem to be any sort of power exchange happening.
Can she perhaps consult the computer database to see if Starfleet's encountered something like this before?
She can do a search, but it is going to come up empty because you're failing it. You're succeeding it at cost here.
Yeah. So. Cool. Yeah. All right. So she's it just seems like she's kind of running into dead ends all over the place. She's trying to compose herself, but she just can't quite summon the composure that she needs. And I think maybe it's because she does not like being alone up here.
Okay. Is there anything else that she wants to do at this point, or do we want to switch back to planet side?
No, we can switch back to the planet's surface. She's just kind of like, at this point, she feels like she's run through all of her options, and she's just like monitoring the hailing frequencies, just hoping against hope that she receives a signal from Lieutenant Azonan.
Okay. So we'll go back down to the planet side. Just a reminder that Lieutenant Vargas and Lieutenant Azonan are in the captivity, I guess, of the Letha 10, who took you out of the market and brought you then to kind of the side chamber. And then the kind of the Litha 10 elders were waiting so that you guys could have a private conversation in the chapel and the chamber. And then as kind of you kind of exit out, you come into this very large, gigantic chamber. And directly across from you where you're at, there seems to be this kind of a very ornately carved pillar that seems to be in the center of this building. And it's kind of about 3 meters high, and on the top of it is kind of an open arc of some sort, open box of some sort that seems to be empty. You do notice to your left there seems to be a chapel, another sort of chamber, and directly across from it, so between on the other side of the pillar, there's another chamber directly opposite. You can definitely tell that there is some sort of iconographic things that have been written and painted onto the walls all over the place. And as you're looking around, kind of in the central chamber, there are all sorts of different sayings, and kind of in what you're kind of guessing is probably elements of their faith that have kind of been recorded down. So various sayings of what is known as the path of fulfillment. Some of the things that you're able to read, some of these examples call the worshipers to strip away all that is unnecessary. Somewhere else it talks about to focus on family, faith, and truth. And on another, you can see to find true harmony within oneself requires harmony with all living things. So you're kind of getting a very good impression that this is some sort of religious building that you guys currently are in.
So am I next to one of the elders? Can I approach one of the elders again?
Yeah, so you come out and they're just going to kind of be standing there waiting. This is just kind of what you see as you exit into this larger chamber off of the side chamber.
Well, I would first say that, what a beautiful building this is.
Why, thank you. It was designed to house one of the primordial gifts.
Yes, I'm interested in learning more about these gifts.
Well, there are the primordial gifts, and then there are the gifts that the Lith-Geb have stolen from the Offworlders.
Okay. Can you tell me the difference between the two? What are the primordial gifts?
Yeah, the elder Gabatanian who initially brought you here kind of leads you to that chamber that was off to the left, and she's kind of pointing out a lot of the writings that's on the wall, and takes you into this one chamber. And one of the things that you see in here, it's very kind of bright, kind of a cheerful kind of atmosphere in terms of the coloring that are on the walls, with more of the sayings of very similar things that are there as well. But one of the things that you notice is kind of in the central part of the chamber, there is kind of a mural that has been painted, and one of the things that you distinctly make out in this mural, it looks a lot like an artifact that you had seen on DS9 before you came out into the Gamma Quadrant. It looks a heck of a lot like one of the Tears of the Prophets. This particular one, though, has that she's showing you. It has a horrible gash in it. So a gash has been painted onto the mural itself. And she says, "This is the primordial gift that was given to us by the Atan. Unfortunately, as you can see, it was destroyed during the Black War."
The Atan. Can you tell me about who are the Atan?
The Atan is the god that we primarily worship. Geb and Atan are the two deities of our planets, and it's thanks to them that we have then really the beginnings of civilization came to our world through the primordial gifts. That there was no civilization, there was nothing, there was no sentience. There was before our peoples came across the primordial gifts, and you see the one that was here that was unfortunately destroyed during one of our wars, and then she kind of moves you over then to the other side chapel, and it's a lot more darker tones in coloring that are there, and you see the image of another orb of the prophet, tear of the prophet. This one, however, does not have that gash that has been painted on it.
Okay. And well, these primordial gifts are certainly beautiful, and I suspect that they have great power. I'm also curious about the gifts that the left Geb have stolen. Can you tell me about those?
Of course, there's been many that have been brought and have, as sad as we are to say, they have brought great prosperity to our people over the last 150 years. But the most powerful one was obviously the first one that was stolen. It is known as the Bao artifact, B-A-U, B-A-U, the Bao artifact, and that is. Unfortunately, through its power, they have been able to trap off-world here on this planet. As you know, we have the protective barrier that has kept us safe for millennia, as far as we can recall. And yet, the Bao artifact is able to open up a gateway in order for us to go into that the Left Geb had sent their blasphemous electronic messages. Unfortunately, it brings a great and terrible cost. It creates power in the core of our planet that rocks us to the very foundation and causes massive tsunamis. In fact, just today, because of your coming here, the city of Creatum was destroyed because of one of these tsunamis caused by the use of the Bao artifact.
And who brought the Bao artifact to this planet?
One of the first off-worlders that visited us 150 years ago. It was the first thing that the Left Geb stole.
Can you tell me what those visitors looked like, or why they came here?
Unfortunately, we never had the pleasure of meeting these off-worlders. We've only heard stories about them being captured, and were after having refused to give this first gift to the Left Geb, they were to be tortured until with horrible blasphemous things before they were released to allow to go back. But they were forced to leave the Bao artifact behind, the first gift that was given to us.
Well, I thank you for your gracious tour of this beautiful building. One of our highest principles is that we don't take sides in these kinds of internal sectarian conflicts. Accordingly, I'm wondering if you know of any way that would help us get back to our ship in orbit, or at least send a message to our ship.
But you are the off-worlders. You are supposed to help. You are the ones that we offer messages to. But if you command us, we will, of course, help you in whatever way that we can. We do have amongst us a convert from the Left Geb to the Left Aten who had been an attendant to the Akote who cared for and maintained the Bao artifact.
And the Bao artifact is the only way we can open up the barrier?
It is the only way that we have ever been able to have any sort of communication with allowing the off-worlders to arrive.
But you say that it also causes harm to your planet.
Yes, the Left Geb say it is worth it because we receive the presence of the off-worlders and the great gifts that they bring to us.
Well, I would like to take a look at that Bao artifact. I don't want to activate it. I don't want to use it because I don't want to cause any additional harm to your civilization or to your people. But it is imperative that we find a way through the barrier. I fear that our coming here might have been a misjudgment on my part, and that we are contaminating your culture. And the longer we stay here, the worse that contamination is going to get.
Okay. Lieutenant Vargas kind of whispers kind of in your ear, being kind of a security kind of guy, and says, if they've got some technology, sir, is there any way that we might be able to modify it in order to serve our purpose? Of course, we cannot harm these people. If we have to stay on this planet, we have to stay on this planet. But if there's a way, maybe we should give it a shot.
Yes, the exact same thought occurred to me, that maybe we can modify this technology or take some kind of inspiration from it. But as you noted, I will not do anything that unduly threatens these people.
Okay, Captain, whatever. Okay, Lieutenant, whatever it is that you need me to do, I'll be more than happy to do. From what I've seen, their technology isn't as advanced as ours, so if need be, we can always take them out. But I'm sure that's not the direction you're wanting to go.
No, Lieutenant. The Prime Directive is clear here, and I fear that we've already upset the balance that existed here before we came. Let's try to be as let's make sure that force is our absolute last option.
Okay, and the elderly Gabatenian. She says, "Of course, we will help you in whatever you want, way you wish. And as I said, Akote Jankseen is more than happy to assist you because she does have knowledge of the workings and the maintenance of the Bao artifact. But
Yes,
it is housed in the sanctuary of Gabanatan in the capital city of Sanctum."
So we're not even in the same city anymore when you transported us.
No, that's a thing she just laid on you.
Yeah. Okay. My antenna kind of boop, point up in surprise. Can we look at the transporter technology that you used to bring us here? We just want to look at it.
You mean the transportation gift? Of course, whatever it is that you wish. So she kind of leads you through. And as you're kind of walking, because you had shown some interest in, she keeps just kind of talking about their religion as you go through. If there's anything specific you want to know, just let me know and I'll give you that. But she'll lead you over to where their transportation gift is located.
Yeah, so I'm curious about the conflict between the left Gab and the left Aten. What exactly is it that causes their conflict?
She kind of responds. It's kind of a division of philosophy that she kind of explains is that when the primordial gifts were found, the off-worlders granted to some people who were before the gifts visions. And it's through those visions that they were kind of formed their basic way of life, and the creation then of their scriptures known as the path of fulfillment. So both versions seek to bring about the fulfillment of the individual, of the self, kind of the self to be the best that it can be. But the way that goes about, the left Geb is more about whatever it takes, whatever the cost is necessary. Whereas the Litha 10 version is more focused on that self is gained through kind of sacrifice and is gained through harmony with oneself and with others. So that's
we too seek harmony. We too seek peaceful coexistence with those around us.
So you are of the Aten.
We are of what?
Of the Aten.
Well, funny thing. I am at a loss for words. This is a very delicate situation. Just know that your faith is a source of great strength for you, and we have much in common.
Unfortunately, the primordial gift from Aten was destroyed in the old war, but perhaps you might have the opportunity then in the sanctuary of Gabanatan to have an experience with the primordial gift of Geb. But that is for your off-worlder to decide.
Indeed. Perhaps. Being as non-committal as possible.
Okay. So she kind of brings you into kind of a side chamber in this complex that you're in, and you see obviously what appears to you to be exactly like a transporter, not a transporter of the Federation or any transporter from that you've seen anywhere in the alpha or beta quadrant. But you know the general structure of a transporter, and you kind of see that there. It does appear to be rather a crude design from what you can tell. But if you just by looking at it, if you want to do any more searching on it and looking into it, you'll have to do a task for that. But just by your visual inspection, it seems to kind of be a beaten up old version of someone's leftover transporter.
But does it seem reliable? Does it seem like it's got range that we can get wherever we need to on this planet without putting ourselves in grave danger?
Well, I mean, they did bring you. They did bring you to where they're at. But if you want any certainty on that, you're going to have to examine it.
Okay, yeah, I'll do that, and I'll order Lieutenant Vegas. Let's take a look at this and just make sure that it's reliable, it's in working order. I don't want to trust myself to some centuries-old transporter from some civilization we don't even know about.
Okay, it's going to be a let's see, control plus engineering task with a difficulty of 1, but I'm going to spend a little bit of threat just because I've got it. So it'll make it a difficulty of 2.
Cool. So yeah, Lieutenant Azonan looks at it. Obviously, this is not technology. I mean, he's familiar with transporters, but this is from a civilization he's not immediately familiar with, so it's a little strange to him.
Right.
And you said control plus engineering?
Control plus engineering, yeah.
Okay. So I got a target number of 12.
You do have 1 momentum, just a reminder.
Okay. I got 1 success. Can I have Vegas assist me? Lieutenant Vegas?
Sure, why not? Yeah. Same control plus engineering.
Okay, he's actually better at it than I am. He should have attempted the task. Okay, he got a success.
Okay, so you did get the 2 successes. Okay.
Yes.
So you do succeed. As you're kind of going over it, you're kind of checking. There does seem to be it's a little lack on maintenance from what you can tell, but it does seem to be operational, and you have a pretty good idea that it has a range that can get you probably about halfway across this planet.
Okay. Cool. So I think I'm speaking to Lieutenant Vegas. I think we need to find that bow artifact, and we need to analyze it and see if that can be our ticket off this planet.
Okay. All right. So just as a reminder, you were told that the bow artifact is in the sanctuary of Gamma 10, so it is in kind of in a temple area as well. So how do you want to go about doing that? Because if you take some tricorders to it, it's going to maybe set off some alarm bells.
Yeah. So I guess I speak to the elder and I ask if there's any way we can sneak into wherever the bow artifact is kept. Is there a way we can do like a stealth mission? Or
she does say that the sanctuary of Gamma 10 is filled with pilgrims most of the day and into the early evening. If you wish to go as a pilgrim, you can always do that. That may not give you the amount of time with the artifact that you so wish, but you could do that. You could try to sneak in, kind of basically after hours. However, she does say that there is a contingent of veilleurs. That's kind of the security officers of the planet. They do have a kind of a squad that is there to kind of care for and look after the sanctuary, as well as it being the kind of the home of several Acultes who serve at the shrine.
Okay, so let's try the pilgrim route and just kind of do a little recon. Maybe we won't have a whole lot of time, but let's just see what we can see. That seems to be the least amount of risk.
Okay. Do you want to, because she has offered then this this person, Aculte Jenksine, who
Yes.
had been an assistant to the Aculte who took care of it. So you want to take her along as well?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. So it's just going to be you two and the Aculte then. Yes.
Sure. Yep. Works for me.
Okay, so how do you want to do this? You're just wanting to kind of go in and kind of pose as pilgrims.
Well, so I don't know. Did they? Are we gonna? Obviously, we're not of this species. So, are we going to kind of stick out like sore thumbs and cause a disturbance?
You recall what happened at the market, yes?
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. And there's no way we could do any kind of like cosmetic change up, switcheroo. Neither of us really have any kind of medical training.
No, and that is not one of the gifts that have been stolen yet at this point. However, Akote Jackson, the one that will be traveling with you guys, she says she does mention that she herself needs to, because she is well known at the sanctuary, that she plans to don one of the pilgrim garbs, which does have kind of a large kind of a hood on it, so it does kind of partially conceal one's face, and just as a reminder, there is a slight blue tinge to the people of this planet,
Yep.
so the Dorian might not stick out as much. The trill may, depending upon lighting, because there's not going to be that little blue hue that that everyone else seems to have.
Yeah. Okay. Let's wear the hoods, and I tell Lieutenant Vegas, keep your hands in your pockets, keep your head down, and let's try to attract as little attention as possible.
Don't show your spots.
Don't show your spots, exactly.
Okay. So they will materialize you over to that area, and one of the Akotes will do the things on the transport to kind of move you over to do that, and so you guys arrive kind of at the the external door, near the external door, because you don't want to just kind of beam right in. There's whoop, you're right there. So kind of near where that's at. So it would be within easy walking distance, probably of about maybe 100 to 200 meters or so from the entrance. So you kind of beam in, kind of an out of the way little place. And one of the things you kind of notice as you do that is it's a massive complex. That is surrounded by a very high wall that's probably about 10 meters in height. And you can kind of see over the wall itself, you can kind of see this gigantic central dome that is protruding kind of in the middle of it. Akote Jackson kind of maneuvers you guys to around and as to kind of enter into the entrance. And as you do so, there's kind of a very large door, that gateway that's standing open currently at this time, allowing, as you notice, then kind of the pilgrims kind of coming in and out. And you see other people kind of milling around, kind of seeming to assist them. As you go in, it's kind of this, like I said, this massive dome that kind of sits in the center of this. To your right, you see kind of what looks to be kind of barracks. And then across the way, kind of catty corner or adjacent to where the barracks are at, there seems to be more living quarters over there as well. But this area is definitely dominated by the kind of central dome that has 5 different smaller domes that are kind of connected to it. There is a kind of a larger entrance that you can see that's kind of across from the gateway that you guys came in, that you notice kind of pilgrims coming in and out of.
Okay, well then let's proceed as if we are just 3 more pilgrims. Try to attract as little attention as possible.
Okay. Excuse me. So as you guys kind of go in, and you kind of enter into this area, and you see then, like I said, this kind of massive dome at the top. There is actually 2 holes in the ceiling, and then kind of light is able to kind of go through one of them, and it shines down on the ground. And then it lightens up this kind of pathway, and on this pathway are written then sayings and things from the Path of Fulfillment, the Lith Geb version. And so this one is going more into how to obtain that self-fulfillment through any means necessary. But this pathway, though, as it kind of leads up to it, it leads into this kind of main chamber, and from there you definitely see kind of glowing out of it one of these that's kind of sitting right in there. So that you definitely see that's in there. There's also in there another one that obviously has this massive gash crack in it that is no longer giving off any light. Acolyte Jackson then kind of moves you then to one of the side chapels where the bow artifact is located. And as you kind of just initially see as you kind of enter into this particular area, it looks a heck of a lot like kind of a cabinet, and it seems to have some sort of door on it that is able to open, but it is currently closed.
And I kind of whisper, "What's my companion's name?"
The Acolyte Jackson. Janxeen. Jackson.
Jackson. I say, Jackson, that doorway, that's the bow artifact?
Inside, yes.
Inside that door. So
Inside,
we're not actually able to get through the doors.
It depends. At certain times of the day, it will be open for veneration, but it seems that right now is not one of those times. I can go and inquire to see when it might be opened for its next viewing and worship.
Do you think that would get us in trouble with the local constabulary or raise eyebrows?
Just if you went over there and just opened it up on your own, yes. But if it was already opened as part of the veneration that was going to be happening that day, then no, because you're not the one that's physically opening the thing up.
Okay, then yes, please ask when the next veneration will be. And then as she does that, I'm going to surreptitiously open up my tricorder and see if I can get a scan through the door.
Okay. All right. So you can definitely do a scan, and since you are trying to do it kind of stealthily, we will have the difficulty be 1. So let's do your control plus. Was it science or engineering that you were better at?
I am better at science.
All right, so control plus science with a difficulty of 1. And since you are trying to be sneaky about it, I don't think you'll be able to get some help from your companion in this case.
Sure. Okay.
And do I have?
Okay, I'll spend it. I'll spend it for a 3rd die. And I've got a target number of 13. Hey, there we go. So I got 2 regular successes and 1 critical success. So
you got 4. Wow.
4 successes. Yes.
All right, so you just gained 3 momentum. There is definitely a power signature that seems to be resonating from that cabinet. It seems to be, as you're kind of looking at it, though, it's probably something that's currently on standby power, so it's not being fully activated at this point.
And was I able to get any reading beyond the door, beyond the cabinet, to get a sense of what exactly that artifact is?
Is that it is definitely a technology that you are not familiar with at this point. It would definitely cause you'd need to be able to kind of spend more time with it in order to kind of figure it out. Yeah.
Okay. Can I get a sense of like how big it is? Is this something that like we can steal?
In terms of, so I mean, that would be something that your tricorder would be able to kind of figure out. Is that it is probably about maybe a meter and a half in terms of length, and probably about maybe half a meter in height. So it does seem to have a protrusion that kind of goes from the center of it kind of straight down, probably about another half a meter.
Okay.
So it would be bulky. It's possible.
Yep.
To steal it, but it's going to be an awkward size.
Yeah, and we don't want to steal it because I feel like that would probably run counter to the Prime Directive.
Stealing a religious artifact, yeah, that's not going to solve any problem.
So we'll just file that away for later. Good to know. Okay, well then I guess I'll wait for Jackson to come back with information about when the next veneration will be.
Okay, she comes back. It doesn't take very long because it's one of those things that one of the Accolades just kind of passes off and kind of moves about their business because people are kind of asking this kind of question all the time. And so she comes back and says, the next one will be the final veneration for the day. So that would be at what amounts to about 6 p.m.
Okay. How long is that until, how long will we have to wait?
That would be, you probably have about an hour or so.
Okay. Well, that's not that long. I don't see that we have any other options but to try and get a closer look at it to see how it operates, exactly what it does. Jackson, you said you've worked with the artifact before.
I was assistant to the Accolade who cares for it. Yes.
Can you tell me how it's able to get through the barrier that surrounds your planet?
What it is capable of doing, as has been explained to me, is that it creates an explosion in the core of the planet. And from that, it is then able to harness the power that is being generated, and it directs it then into the heavens, and it dissipates to weaken the barrier at certain points. Unfortunately, it only lasts for about an hour, though.
And so it uses the power of the planet's core as an energy source, and that causes...
It amplifies it. It basically sets off an explosion down in the planet's core, and then it harvests that energy and then directs it to penetrate, to weaken the barrier.
And that explosion is what causes the earthquakes and the tsunamis.
Exactly.
Okay. And do you know what kind of energy it directs at the barrier to disrupt it?
We were told that it was the power of the Geb.
Okay, of course. Can I do a science task to see if I can think of any kind of, what kind of energy and what it would take to disrupt that field?
Sure. Yeah. So just kind of a jogging your memory type of thing.
Just sort of extrapolating from what my tricorder scan got of the artifact and what I know about the energy field. Is there any way I can make some kind of a guess?
Okay, let's do a reason plus science task. Let's see. Since you're dealing with unknown variables, I'm going to say that's going to be a difficulty of 2.
Okay. Reason plus science is 9. So I'll spend a point of momentum.
Yeah, and Vagus can help because you can kind of theorize with him. He might not be able to help much, but it's another person thinking about it. Yeah.
Okay. We both got target numbers of 9. I'm spending a point of momentum, by the way, to get 3.
Okay.
Dice. Okay. 1 success from me, and 1 success from Lieutenant Vegas, so 2 successes.
Okay. So what specifically are you wanting to kind of find out about this again?
What kind of energy could you project at the surrounding field to disrupt it?
At the barrier itself, or directed at the okay. You were a Federation technology. You are unaware of anything that would be able to penetrate it. However, given the knowledge that you kind of accrued, it is going to take a massive energy source. She was talking about an explosion in the core of a planet and harvesting that explosion based upon the fuel that is in the core of the planet in order to be able to create even just a small gap to allow that to happen. You would estimate probably it would take the power of a small star.
Well, we don't have one of those lying around.
But that's what you can deduce with your current information.
Okay.
You're right, just purely theoretically thinking what kind of power could get through this thing.
Okay. Well, that doesn't leave us with a lot of options, does it, Lieutenant Vegas? We on the one hand, we don't have that kind of power source lying around. And
neither does
on
the
the
runabout,
other,
sir.
what's that?
Neither does the runabout.
Neither does the runabout. But we also aren't willing to try and power up that artifact ourselves because of the damage it'll do to the planet.
Not in its current state. No, you're right.
Options, Lieutenant?
Until we get more information, I think that's our key, sirs. With the data that we have, I mean, I don't even think a Galaxy-class starship would be able to generate the amount of energy that would require to penetrate that. We just need more information. If we could get our hands on that thing, and more than just scans, to even take it apart and understand it and look at it. But I don't know if we can do that.
Yeah, that's going to be difficult. I think the only option I see right now is just to wait until that veneration, and maybe we can, getting eyes on it will give us some more clues as to how to proceed.
Okay. Anything you want to do anything else you want to do in the meantime before we jump ahead an hour?
Not really. Thomas, how are you doing on time? Are you doing okay?
I'm doing good. I don't have anything for another hour and a half, so I'm fine with time.
Do you mind if I take just a quick break to get another cup of coffee?
Oh, certainly, yeah, we can do that. I can grab a little bit more water too. So, cool. All right. So, what? 10 minutes? 5 minutes? What? How much?
I'd say 5. 5, okay.
Okay. Okay, 5's fine. Yeah. All right.
Awesome. All right, I'm back. I got my coffee. It's not even 11 o'clock in the morning here in Iowa, so I gotta have my coffee.
Oh yeah, it's much later here. Matter of fact, it's already dark outside. It's only 6 o'clock. So yeah, my espresso was many hours ago. Okay, so just as a reminder, you do still have 2 momentum left. You guys kind of wait around for an hour, and then there's kind of a solemn procession. There are several kind of attendants, ministers that kind of come in wearing kind of ceremonial garb, and there's obviously lots of incense being used. People carrying candles, and they kind of enter in, and it takes about a 15-minute ceremony for them to finally fully open it up. The bow artifact. It's kind of dimension-wise. It's kind of as I described it. You do notice that there are lots of. There appears to be a kind of a touch panel, as well as some switches and dials that are on it. There is kind of a little bit of a faint smell kind of emanates from it as well. Can't quite put your finger on what it is, but there's something that kind of is coming over the smell of the incense that's currently being used. But yeah, so that's what you see as it's being opened up.
Okay, and how close can I get to it without, violating the expectations of this ceremony?
You know, because after it's kind of been opened up, then the ministers kind of leave to allow then the veneration to kind of go on. And you do notice that there seems to be kind of a crowd of people that kind of move in to kind of venerate while it's on display. And it seems that the people that are there, the pilgrims that are there, are probably getting within just a couple of meters of the artifact itself.
Okay, then let's take a closer look, Lieutenant Vegas. Try to follow the lead of the other pilgrims. Don't do anything that would look suspicious, but let's get as close as we can without raising any eyebrows, and just try to get like a visual inspection of what this thing is and how it works.
Okay. So as you kind of move in closer, you're doing fairly well, kind of blending in. You've kind of been watching that hour that you guys were kind of waiting for it to open. You were kind of just watching the other pilgrims to see what sort of things that they did, and so you're just kind of imitating some of those things, kind of parroting what you had saw as you kind of go in. And so you do seem to kind of blend in well. As you kind of get closer, you can do notice that there are some kind of markings and things that are written on it, thanks to the miracle of the Universal Translator. There does seem to be some instruction type of things, kind of intuitive. I mean, it doesn't literally say the on button, but you kind of can kind of tell what things are, and you get a general sense of how it might be used. You don't know how to use it, but you got to get an idea of how it might be used.
Okay. And do we get the sense that this is something that we could operate quickly if we had to, or?
No, it is a complex machine. So it would be something that, just kind of as a rough guess, you would probably say it's going to take you at least 20 minutes, 30 minutes to get it operational.
Okay, well, I don't want to try to steal the thing while there are all these pilgrims around, and I don't think we can just start pushing buttons on it right now. So I think we'll kind of make a respectful exit from the room, unless there's any other, maybe we scan around the room to see if there's any inscriptions or frescoes or something that might give an indication of some useful information. As you kind of look around, just seeing what's there, written on the walls, the calligraphy and what's on the walls. Again, it's just more of the sayings of the path of fulfillment that you kind of see there. There's nothing that specifically directs on how to use this device. Do you want to try to, now that you're closer to it and it's open, do you want to try to do a scan with your tricorder, or? Yeah, while we're up close to it, I'll see if I can do another quick, kind of keeping the tricorder kind of inside my sleeve so no one can see. I'll do a quick tricorder scan.
Okay. Okay, so yeah, so again, that would be difficulty of 1 with a control plus engineering
Okay, and I'll spend a point of momentum.
to get a die. Okay, so you're down to 1 momentum.
Okay, so I'm looking at 12 as my target number again. I got a success, but I also rolled a 20 for a complication.
Okay, so you have a complication. Okay, what do you think the complication should be?
Well, to me, maybe I'm able to conduct the scan, but someone notices my tricorder.
Okay, so you're kind of there, and I imagine this is kind of one of those stealth ones where you just have the little detachable part kind of going around, and you're kind of keeping it. And someone kind of looks over and sees that, and kind of turns to you and says, what are you doing? And that when that happens, obviously that kind of creates a bit of a scene, and a lot of people then start to turn to look at you and try to see what it is that you're doing. Because of the commotion that's being created, that is a concern then for the kind of the security, and they start to kind of move in to investigate. What do you want to do?
I'm just, this is a cleaning device. I'm just performing routine cleaning here in this chapel because cleanliness is super important. So nothing to see here.
Nothing to see here. I'm okay. Are you okay? How are you?
Janitor.
Which I think you probably know is not something that normally happens at this time of day.
Okay.
And so so that just actually even creates a little bit more of a scene, and you notice out of the corner of your eye, and Vagus does too, is that the kind of the security is moving at a much faster pace. They've picked up the pace because they're concerned that something's going to happen right now.
You mean this? And I pull out the tricorder. This is a gift. This is a gift from the
Geb?
What do they call them?
The Geb?
Yeah, from the Geb, right. You know what I mean. This is a gift from the Geb. And it's my gift for my path to self-fulfillment. So I got to keep it. I got to go. It's getting late.
Believe it or not, that doesn't help your cause a whole lot because you just announced that you had a gift from the gods. And so you hear kind of a cry kind of come up. It's a gift from Geb. It must be Prescott Cullis must immediately see it so that he can analyze it. And as you begin the process, you notice that there are some people beginning to kind of block the exit to this building.
All right, yeah. Take me to Prescott then. We're acquaintances. I absolutely do not want to. And maybe Lieutenant Vegas. He's a security officer. I imagine maybe he is itching for a fight in this situation. I tell him, stand down, Lieutenant. We're far outnumbered. We're in too deep as it is. We would only be creating further contamination. I think we have no choice but to go with the authorities here.
Okay. That was a heck of a complication.
But I hope that Jaxine did not get caught up in this. She, I would have tried to give her some kind of like nonverbal signal that like just get out of here, don't attract attention to yourself, and just let us handle this.
Right. Yeah. She was able to do that. She kind of saw what was happening before you did, and just kind of immediately kind of blended into the rest of the crowd, which she's able to do a lot easier than you guys were.
Cool.
And so as you kind of do that, you get brought into the presence of Prescott Cullis. You actually get taken out on the opposite side of the kind of the sanctuary. There's a smaller entrance exit, and so you're led through there into the courtyard. And then at the far end of the courtyard, there is kind of the premises of the Prescott, and so you're kind of taken there. And you enter into Prescott Cullis's presence. And he says, I see we meet again. And this time you come in stealth, I see.
Yeah, I feel like, Mr. Speaker, we've been lied to at every turn here. And we were taken against our will by another faction, the Leth Aten. And we've been trying... All we're trying to do is get back to our ship, and we have no means of contacting the ship, no means of being transported back to our ship. And I feel like you invited us here under false pretenses.
Yes, the Lethaten are definitely a backwards people, and I make no apologies. But yes, you are, as you can obviously tell, are trapped here. And I will give you the same offer as I have given to many others who have stood in your place, in your shoes. I need technology in order to maintain dominance on this planet. Provide it, and you will be free to go. If you don't, you can rot in our dungeons.
Our most cherished rule absolutely forbids me from handing over technology to civilizations that are too premature to handle it.
So you've made your choice.
I have.
Very well. We will give you some time We'll give you an hour to think about it, and then we can begin the round of torture. Does that suit to your liking?
Well, if I'm being honest, that wouldn't be to my liking, but I'm prepared to face any difficulty for the principles of the Federation, and I won't be intimidated.
I know not these Federation principles of which you speak, but I'm sure after a while you'll be like all the others. Take them away, and then a couple of guards kind of grab you and kind of move you down into kind of the pits of this particular area where you guys are at, and kind of put you in in two separate cells, so you're not going to be in the same cell to be able to kind of commiserate with one another. So you are kind of separated. It's kind of a very dark, kind of very dank kind of area. What do you want to do? You're imprisoned.
Yeah. So as all good dungeons are, I imagine it's not a great... I've got... just one second. I want to look something up here.
Certainly.
Okay. So I've got a constantly watching talent. When you attempt a task to detect danger or hidden enemies, reduce the difficulty by 1. I'm wondering if that talent might apply to help me think of a means of escape from this dungeon. Did I see any problems with the locking mechanism? Are there, windows? Is there a guard who is that I noticed, isn't paying close attention or something? Is there any opportunity for me to make a break for it here?
Well, what I can tell you is basically after you were locked down here, there does not seem to be a guard who kind of stood by. They just kind of threw you into the cell, kind of closed it, and kind of left. The cell itself, the door of it, is, kind of think kind of metal bar, kind of Western jail type thing, kind of set up in terms of that. And it is just an iron lock. Because you obviously have been kind of, you don't have your tricorder with you, you don't have your
Right.
phaser with you. That's kind of all been confiscated.
Confiscated.
So,
Sure.
yeah.
Okay.
I mean, they're new gifts.
I hate first contacts. Lieutenant Vegas. I'm never leading another first contact mission.
Perpetual Lieutenant Junior grade, then, are you, sir?
Yeah, I don't think I'm in any hurry to rank. I thought I was. I thought I had what it took, but I guess I don't. I've made an enormous mess out of this.
Did you
I guess,
just challenge one of your values?
I guess I did, yeah. My career. My career is the most important thing.
Okay. So whatever task you want to use that on, you just gained yourself basically another point of determination.
Okay.
You're rethinking your life.
Yeah. I'm challenging that value. Coming into this mission, I thought, I jumped at this opportunity to go into the Gamma Quadrant to seek the unknown. I thought this was going to be a fast track to promotion, get to full lieutenant, maybe even make lieutenant commander before I was 30. But boy, command is hard, and even stuff like completely beyond your control can land you in a dungeon on some strange planet. So, Lieutenant Vegas, if we get out of this, I'm going to focus much more on relationships and less on my own ambition, because maybe that's the more important thing, is the relationships you forge with your fellow officers and your friends. So I need you to trust me on this. Is there any way you think we could, if we combined our strength to maybe knock down a wall, or do you see anything in your cell that I could drain, or some way out of these cells?
Let's see. What are the focuses of our good lieutenant here? He has hand phasers, wilderness survival, and athletics. Okay.
Or do we feign an illness until the guard shows up?
Well, remember, I said he just kind of left you guys alone. He's not around, so he might not come back until that other hour. He could come back in 5 minutes. You don't know, but he just kind of left. Yeah. But I would say with wilderness survival, he might be able to kind of search around to see if there's any sort of thing that might be able to be exploited. So if you want him, he could potentially try to do that.
So maybe he's got athletics, he's got wilderness survival. Maybe he could get out through the latrine or something.
That's a possibility. If you want him to give a shot at that, you can order him to do so. He is not volunteering to go through a latrine.
All right, Lieutenant. I hate to order you to do this, but that's part of command too. Sometimes ordering someone to do something dangerous, something unpleasant for the good of the mission. And frankly, I think your skill set is right for this, and I know you can do it. If you can get down there and find a way out and get around and unlock my door, we can make a break for it.
Okay. Let us then, for the sake of this, I never would have thought I would have someone digging through a sewer in Star Trek Adventures. But let's see. So let's have that be, because you want to use athletics, so we'll definitely have fitness as a part of that. And then, let's go ahead and do security, because he is in a cell trying to find some sort of way to kind of get out of that. So we'll have it fitness plus security. It is a cell, so it is going to be a difficulty of 2.
Sure. Okay. And can I assist him with my command pep talk, with my realization that maybe my career is less important than my relationships with my fellow crewmen, and I'm trying to inspire him to put the mission first and do this really gross, unpleasant thing, but really our lives might depend on this.
Let's see. So basically, you're wanting to use the command action from a combat encounter. Is that what you're asking to do?
Sort of. Like, yeah, I'm kind of giving him a pep talk, and maybe that can be used as an additional. I just want to assist him, so maybe I can get an extra die on this.
Okay. I will let you, because I'm just reading, going through the direct action. Now, granted, it is for a fight, but it does say for leaders only. Once per scene, you nominate an ally who takes an immediate task assisted by the leader. And I think an argument could be made that this is kind of a combat situation in some sense, because you are fighting for your life. So I'll allow it, and I'll allow it in this case, because
cool.
Why not?
Okay. Then can I use my determination for the assist roll to get the just automatic 2 successes?
You most certainly can use your determination to do that.
Okay, so I do that, and I'm going to use his first name. I say Drolan. Ranks fallen by the wayside here. We're in this together, and our lives might depend on you finding a way out of that cell through the sewer. But I know you got this. I know you can do it. You were built for this.
Okay. So you can use your determination, but just a reminder is that he does have to get at least 1 success for any of your stuff to count.
Okay. And you said it's fitness plus security.
Fitness plus security, yeah.
Okay.
Which I think that's his best, almost his best stats, but yeah.
Yes. It's a target number of 14. I'm just going to roll it. I'm going to roll the 2 red dice and hope that one of them is a 14 or less. The odds are good, I think. Got an 11. Got an 11 and a 19. So 1 success. Okay.
So you got 1 success plus your determination, which gives you 2 success. And if you want to do your roll that you get as well, you can try to grab 1 more success, or possibly 2 more successes.
And I'm doing what? Presence plus command?
Yeah.
Okay. Nope, no help there.
Okay, but you do gain. Let's see, because he got 1, and then you had your 2 from your determination, so you do gain 1 momentum.
Okay.
Right. And he seems to be very inspired by you, and since you're you were kind of talking about doing things a little bit more unorthodox, and even though you kind of gave him an order to kind of go check out the sewers, his first thought is to kind of look around to see what's there, because anything before the sewers is kind of his motto at this point. And as he's kind of knowing his background as a kind of his insecurity, he does notice that the way that this grating is kind of installed into the wall, there does seem to be kind of a weakness that he might be able to exploit. And so he just kind of runs back to one end of the cell and just puts everything he's got into it and slams his body up against it. And when that happens, you do notice that the grating kind of shifts just a little bit, and you see some dirt and debris kind of break loose. He's obviously kind of stunned a little bit by this, and if you tell him to do it again, he will ram at the thing again.
Drolan, you keep doing that. You're doing it right. Something's happening.
Okay, so it takes him about 3 more attempts before he's able to kind of wedge enough out of it in order to kind of crawl himself through. Now, I will say, after slamming into a metal wall that many times, I'm going to say just 2 challenge dice just to see if he takes any damage, and he does take 1 point of stress. But I believe, does he have any? No, he'll take 1 point of stress off of that.
Okay. Got it.
Which isn't bad, considering everything that happened.
You're a beast, Drolan. You're a beast.
I'm not digging through a sewer, sir.
We'll call that motivation.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so he's free at this point. What do you want him to do? What is he going to do?
If he can get me out of my cell, that would be priority number 1.
Okay, he kind of looks around, and he doesn't notice the same kind of cracking structure that was in his cell. He doesn't seem to kind of notice that right off the bat, and so he doesn't think that repeatedly slamming himself up against your door is going to help.
Okay. What about our phasers and tricorders? Are they anywhere around?
So you want him to just kind of go search around, see if he can find some things?
Yes, either our equipment, or if you can locate a key, or the guards or something like that. Figure out where the guards are.
Okay, so yeah, so he'll go and kind of stealth around to kind of see where things are at. He kind of goes around a corner that you guys had initially kind of come in, and he kind of peers around, and he sees the door that you guys originally came in to get into this kind of dungeon area, and there isn't anyone there. He does notice that there seems to be kind of a cabinet that is near that door, and so he goes and he kind of looks in it, and guess what he finds in the cabinet? Some keys.
All right. Get back over here.
I'll give you that. So he goes, and there's this whole set of keys in there, and so he just kind of grabs them all, and he kind of brings them over to you, and he just one after the other, and as it has to be, it's the last one he tries is the one that kind of unlocks the door to let you out.
Drolan, I could kiss you, but I won't because I would be unprofessional. So let's get out of here.
Okay. So you go, and actually the door that I'd mentioned earlier appears to be unlocked. You kind of open it up, and you don't see anyone. You do hear what sounds to be some voices kind of way off in the distance, though, but that's probably, a good 200-300 meters from your current position.
Well, so we don't have our equipment. We have no way of contacting our ship. I think we got to get back to that artifact. I mean, I really don't see any other choice. I mean, we're kind of in desperation mode right now. We're backed into a corner, as the humans say.
Okay. So do you want to try to make for what? Where are you wanting to go?
Back to the bow artifact.
Okay, so back up to the kind of the sanctuary area.
Yes.
Okay.
Is that far away?
Well, it depends how good are you guys at kind of mapping your way down to where you were located. I think don't Andorians have with their antennas are able to kind of navigate things a little bit better than others?
Yeah, totally, absolutely we are.
Okay, so in that case, then you're able to kind of able to find your way back. It's definitely takes you a little bit longer as you notice a couple of the Veyurs, the kind of the security kind of being around, but you kind of, when you see them or you hear them, you kind of stop and wait a little while. So it does take a little while. When you get back up at the top, it is nighttime, so it's dark. You do not see any people kind of walking about. The pilgrims have already left at this point. And you do see there is the entrance that you guys had left from, the smaller entrance to the temple is not too far away from you, but you would have to cross part of the courtyard in order to get there. Yeah,
so I'm like, I used to navigate ice caves on Andor in the dark, so this is nothing for me to find our way back to the sanctuary. Lieutenant Vegas, I don't see that we have any other option but to try and get our hands on that artifact. Do you see any other options? I mean, maybe if we just get a little time with it, we can figure out how to power it up without causing the vast seismic destruction that it's caused in the past. Maybe with our knowledge of Starfleet engineering and science that obviously surpasses most of the people on this planet, maybe we can find a way to operate that device without the harmful unintended consequences.
Well, now looking around, because he's noticing there's the pilgrims aren't there. It seems that this might be the best time of any sort to be able to try to get any sort of open access to it. I don't know what's inside there, which kind of bothers me, not knowing what's inside the temple at this time of night. But considering there's a lot less people, this might be our only shot.
Agreed. Yeah, full speed ahead. Also
Okay.
a value of mine.
You trying to get another determination?
just trying to role play constantly with my character.
Okay, so yeah, as you guys are kind of booking it across the courtyard in order to be able to get to the temple, as you're about kind of halfway across the way, you hear kind of a voice, kind of a stage whisper, kind of out of the dark, towards the sanctuary itself. You hear, "Over here, over here."
My antennas shoot up, and do I recognize the voice?
It sounds exactly like Akelte Jenksine.
Okay, yeah. Let's see what she has to say.
Okay, so you kind of divert yourself over, and you notice she's kind of hiding behind some there's kind of some monuments that are around the sanctuary itself, and she's kind of hiding herself over there. And she kind of motions you guys over, and then when she gets there, she has a surprise for you. She actually has your tricorder and your comm badges with you. She says, I was able to use an old friend of mine to get these things back. I thought you'd be able to find your way back here. So I do have these things for you. And she offers them to you.
Jaxine, I can kiss you, but that would be unprofessional, so I'm not. You just even the odds.
She says, normally in the past, that there wouldn't be anyone inside the temple, but I cannot be certain of that at this time because the disturbance you created earlier might have raised some suspicions. So I can't guarantee that, and especially since you guys have just escaped. I don't know how quickly they'll discover the ruse that you've created, but anything can happen.
Yeah, my hunch is that they're going to be looking for us very soon, so I suspect we're running out of time. Our plan is to get in there and to get our hands on that artifact and try to find a way to use it without causing widespread destruction to your planet.
Okay. So now that you're in there, or now that you have your tricorder back, you're actually finally able to read what you got from way back when, before you got captured, because you never really got to find out what data that you had received from your scan. So now that you finally have your tricorder back, you can actually get that. So we can kind of get back to that.
Yeah.
Basically, it uses some sort of energy component that you're not 100% familiar with, but you can definitely tell that it is similar to a type of energy that the Federation had tried about 200 years ago, but found it to be very, very unstable. But it was you just remember hear about it in passing, just kind of stories that people talked about. But yeah, it is definitely a extremely dangerous form of energy that the Federation put a ban on any further research into the future.
Okay, so we're dealing with something dangerous here, but maybe we can find a way to contain it. Maybe we can find a way to use it just once. It's going to be volatile and touchy, but maybe we can contain that energy to keep from these seismic consequences.
Okay. So you kind of enter into the sanctuary. It's kind of dark. There is some candles kind of illuminating things, but kind of being left off in the distance. You definitely do see really the major light source that's in there is emanating from what is known as the primordial gift of Geb, which you would know better as what looks like a one of the orbs of the prophets, is kind of giving off some glow at the time as you go on. But you kind of pass that by because you are on a mission, and you head over to where the cabinet was that was holding the bow artifact. You kind of open it up, and you can kind of begin to take a look at it. And in that case, I think this would be a perfect opportunity for an extended task.
Okay.
Okay. Now, because you're doing this in the area where you're at, it kind of ratchets up the tension a little bit. So you're only going to have really 3 attempts to try to get this done, given the time frame that you have to do this.
Sure.
So it is going to be a difficulty of 4. It's going to be a magnitude of 3, a resistance of 1, and a work of 15. So it is going to be a little bit difficult to do, but it is your opportunity. Now, you only had a science officer with you.
Yeah, I left her on the ship. What about Jaxine? She's got some experience with this.
She can assist. Yeah, she can assist. And I do have some stats for her. If I can find them real quick. Okay. Let's see. Basically, I'm using a Starfleet engineer on that. So page 315 of the core rulebook. Okay. So yeah. So your okay. So let's going to be reason plus engineering. Reason plus engineering. All right. She has a 12. Her target is going to be 12.
Okay, she's better at it than I am. So maybe can she do the task and I assist? Or
She's really an NPC, so
okay. So Drolan Vegas, the Lieutenant Vegas has a better. He's got a target number of 11. I've got a target number of 8. So can he do the tasks and then I?
Yeah, I'll let him do the task. Yeah, and if you would have just brought your science officer, who would be reason 14, but you didn't bring her along. She's still up on the ship trying to figure things out all by herself. Okay. So like I said, it is a difficulty of 4, magnitude of 3, resistance of 1, work of 15.
Okay, difficulty 4, and he's got.
You do have 2 momentum.
Yeah. So I guess I'll spend those and then pay you a threat so that he gets 2 extra dice on the task.
Okay.
And then Jackson assists. So he's got a target number of 11. This is Lieutenant Vegas. He's like, did not expect to be in a situation, where he's going to have to figure this out with science and engineering. So he's feeling stressed and over his head, but he plunges in and starts pushing buttons on this alien device. Oh no! And he didn't get any successes.
No complications, though, right?
No complications, but 0 successes.
Okay. Well, like I said, you have 3 attempts to try to get through this. So you basically went down a dead end on the first one.
Yep. And spent all my momentum. Okay. Well, I guess we try again, but I don't think Vegas is like, sir, this is not looking good, but we'll try it again. Target of 11. He got 1 success, and Jackson got a success, so still 2 short.
Mm-hmm.
It's our second attempt.
Do you want to buy some threat?
I don't think it's going to help. I think the odds are so stacked against us that even with just no, I don't. With just 1 attempt, I think Vegas is like, sir, this energy source is just too volatile. If I keep trying, I'm worried that we're going to cause serious harm to this planet. And so then Lieutenant Azonan says, okay, then we won't cross that line. We've got to find another way.
Jackson says, grab it.
What's that?
She says, grab it.
Grab the device? We're going to steal it?
Device, yeah. Do you do it?
We do it. Yeah, full speed ahead.
All right. So you grab hold of it. She pulls out of her pocket a remote for the transport, and she zips you back to the sanctuary of Aten and Geb. So you're back where you started from in the other sanctuary, but now you have the artifact of the bow artifact with you. Yeah.
So Zath, like, man, Starfleet Command is going to be so pissed that we stole that. This is a clear and flagrant violation of the Prime Directive to steal another civilization's holy relic. But you know what? We'll worry about that when I have to write the report. We'll worry about the court martial, assuming we survive this mess.
Well, Lieutenant Vargas reminds you, she technically stole it, sir.
I like the way you think, Lieutenant. That's a fair point. I'll be sure to include that in the report.
Yeah, because Oh, I thought one of his focuses was Starfleet protocol regulation. No, that was your focus. Okay, but yeah, she stole it.
That's a good point. I will stress that in my debrief.
Okay, so you actually now have more time because you've got a little bit more information to be able to kind of deal with this thing now. And you're not kind of in situation at the moment. So the difficulty drops down to 3.
Okay.
And the resistance drops down to 0.
Okay. Can I also maybe, now that we've got some time to think about it, can I create an advantage that might help us understand how this thing works, the kind of the ins and outs of it? Can I analyze it?
Certainly, yeah. You can create an advantage. So are you wanting to spend some threat in order to make an advantage?
Yeah, let's do that. I'll spend two threat to create an advantage as I just kind of, without like pushing any buttons or anything. I've got my tricorder. I'm scanning the thing inside and out, taking my time to just figure out what all the components are, how it works. So then when we actually start the task, hopefully that will help us out.
Okay. So basically, you're making things a little bit easier for you. So on that case, I will decrease the difficulty from 3 down to 2 because you gain some advantage of kind of studying this thing a little bit deeper. You take a couple of hours about it, and do that.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Cool. Yeah. Then I think once we've taken our time to study this device, then let's begin. Let's try to punch a hole in this barrier, and Lieutenant Vegas, let's get out of here.
Okay. So it now is currently at a difficulty of 2.
Okay. So he will attempt the task, and Zath Azonan will assist. Oh, actually, let's have Jackson assist, and Zath will just sit back and contemplate his ruined career. So you said it's control plus engineering? Or
Yeah, I believe I said control plus engineering. That sounds about right. Yeah, control plus engineering.
Okay, cool.
Or no, or was it reason plus engineering?
I think it was reason because he had a target number of 11. That's what.
Yeah, reason plus engineering.
Okay, so here's Lieutenant Vegas. His reason plus engineering is a target number of 11. I got 1 success. And I'll roll for
1 more.
Yep, Jackson. She got a 10. Is that a success for her?
What'd I say? Reason plus engineering.
Yes.
She has a target of 11.
Woohoo! Okay.
So you got your 2 successes.
Okay, so now I have to roll my challenge dice, right?
That's right.
And how many? It's like 2 plus.
2 plus. It's 2 plus your science.
Yes. Or engineering, right? He used engineering.
I used engineering. That's right. Yeah.
Okay. So it's 5. Okay. Hey, that's not bad. 4, 5, 6.
6. Okay. So that's enough to get a breakthrough as well. All right. So that drops the work down to 9. So if you can get another, breakthrough, you can get this done.
Okay, it's working, sir. It's working. Vegas calls out to Zath. Okay, so another tap. Does the difficulty drop again because we got?
Yeah, because you got 1 breakthrough, so it does drop down the difficulty. So you only have a difficulty of 0 now.
Or difficulty.
Difficulty 1. Scusa, 1.
Yeah. Cool. All right. So yep, Drolan gets back at it. Reason plus engineering, target number of 11. You got 1 success.
Okay. That's all you needed.
Okay.
So you don't really need. You don't really need her help on it because you're just rolling challenge dice.
Okay. Need 5. There we go. Okay, that time it was 4.
Okay. So that takes it down to 5. Let's see. And is a breakthrough is when it's half. You get half the number, right? Or is it?
I think that's called Cthulhu. You think? I think you gotta get 5 or better for a breakthrough. So that's,
Okay.
I don't
Okay.
that's not a breakthrough unless it gets the work track down to 0.
No, just your work track is now down to 5.
Okay. All right, here we go. One more attempt. Two successes.
Okay, that's all you needed.
Hey, we got 5.
Okay, that is another breakthrough, and actually it's 2 breakthroughs because you drop it down to 0. Plus, there was only 5 left, so you get a breakthrough, 2 breakthroughs on that. So you got a total of 3 breakthroughs on this. Yeah, you figured out a way not only to kind of make the device work properly. You're actually pretty certain now that you were able to figure out a way to kind of recontain the energy so that it doesn't just kind of blast itself back out into the planet, but actually to redirect all of the energy instead of kind of emanating out as earthquakes, to actually all of it go up to the energy barrier itself. So you've actually opened up this planet permanently. With that, because you got 2 breakthroughs, I am going to use one of the special rules for Akote Jankseen, who happens to be a double agent. So I'm going to use her double agent special rule, and she is going to pull out her phaser, or not her laser weapon, and is actually going to fire it at Lieutenant Vargas, because he is the one that discovered this, and because she wants what you just discovered. She's going to be taking this gift.
Jackson, no!
All right, 1 is a hit. I believe 11 is also, yes. So she does hit. Okay, and her. Let's see. And the laser weapon. What did I put it? All right, 3 challenge dice for a laser weapon. Because yeah, it is a laser. It's not a phaser, so it's not as because it's not as
kind of a primitive weapon.
Yeah.
Got it.
And that is luckily. There is they don't have any special effects, but that is 3 stress that is directed at Lieutenant Vegas. He already had 1 stress, so he is at a total of 4 stress at this point.
Yep. Okay.
But we're in combat. What do you want to do? She has just fired at you.
And so I'm not. So Lieutenant Azonan is stunned for a moment, but he leaps into action and draws his phaser. He's like, Jackson, why?
You have just opened up the gift of the gods for even greater discovery. So, oh, by the way, just so you know, that double agent does cost me 2 threat to use that.
Okay. Okay.
So I did cost some threat for that.
Well, Zath has. I mean, he's going to try and stun her. That's the play here.
Okay, so it's a non-lethal attack. Oh, got it.
Yeah, with his phaser. Difficulty 2, control plus security is 14. Hey, there are 2 successes. So
okay.
Damage. Just type.
She doesn't have any resistance, so.
All right. So I don't have any effects in place. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
5, 6. That's enough to sustain an injury, and since you are doing non-lethal, so it's a stun. I will not pay threat in order to avoid that injury because of the way that you were attacking her.
Okay.
So yeah, she is unconscious.
Can we do like a quick scene before, like, I stun her and she's sort of she's on the ground but not dead. Can I like try to talk? Can I maybe like restrain her and talk to her? Do I have that kind of time? Okay, so I order.
You got all the time you want. You've stolen this artifact. You've kind of figured out how to rework it. You can literally use it at any time in order to get back to your ship.
Okay, so I order Lieutenant Vegas, get on the communicator, see if you can reach the runabout and make preparations to get us out of here. I go up to Jackson and a restrainer if I can find something to tie her up, and I tried to revive her, and I'm just like, what just happened here? I thought that you were helping us.
I was helping for the furtherment of the Lithatan, or the Lithgab, excuse me. I was helping for the furthering of the Lithgab. You've created something with this artifact that we could not. And now this gift will be the product to allow us to do even more great things in controlling than the people of this planet, as well as possibly others.
So this was all a deception to get us to figure out how this artifact works in a way that you couldn't.
On our part, yes. The Lethatan, they're simple-minded people. This is all for the glory of Geb.
Jaxine, I think that we have the civilization that I come from, the Federation, we have much more in common with the Lethatan than we do with you. You seem to think that might makes right, that you can cross any boundary to attain more power. And we have learned that there are certain lines that you should never cross, certain ethical and moral boundaries.
You have that luxury with all the gifts that you have. We are not there yet to make those determinations.
I can see now that coming here was a grave mistake. Jaxine, I only hope that you can learn from the Lethatan.
They're a backward people. We have nothing to learn from them.
Then I don't think you have anything to learn from us either. And if we can beam out of here, then I'm ready to tell Lieutenant Latham to energize.
Okay, yeah. So Lieutenant, what was his name? Lieutenant Vegas is able to activate the device, and almost immediately, because the other lieutenant, Lieutenant Latham, was constantly. She's as soon as there's an opening, she's just immediately on it, and is kind of filling you in that she's contacted. She has contacted Captain McHenry. And that she was almost about ready to call in the fleet in order to rescue you, but now that she has your signal, she's ready to beam you out of there immediately. What are your orders, sir?
Energize, Lieutenant Latham. We've already done too much damage here.
Okay. Are you leaving the bow device behind?
Leaving the what?
The bow device, the bow artifact. You leaving that behind?
Yeah, it's not ours to take, and it seems to have religious, spiritual value to the people of this planet. It's not ours to take with us.
Okay. So she immediately is able to beam you out, and you kind of wait a while around just to see if anything happens, and then you do notice after still about an hour, the energy field kind of re-energizes itself and kind of closes itself back up again. It kind of seals off the planet. What do you want to do?
So Lieutenant Azonan just thinks that this mission has been a complete disaster, and so he kind of steels himself and gets back on the communicator to Captain McHenry and awaits her orders. Basically just kind of submits himself for whatever disciplinary action she thinks is necessary. He gives her updates her on the situation that we went down there, we contaminated them with Federation technology, we stole a religious artifact and used in a way that the population had been unable to figure out, and probably upset the balance between these two different factions on the planet. And so if Captain, if you want us to continue our mission surveying for planets for New Bajor, we will do so. Otherwise, I'm ready to submit to the court-martial.
Oh yeah, she wants you back immediately. After everything you said you've done, yeah, she wants you back immediately. That she will assign the rest of your mission to someone else, but that you need to kind of get back. And she just said, given the circumstances, there will probably be a court-martial. What the results of that will be, that is to be determined by Starfleet. From your record so far, you have been an exemplary officer, and I will put that in my recommendations to the at the court-martial, but that is as far as I'm willing to go on your behalf. It is interesting that you made mention of other religious artifacts, and you said that those religious artifacts are not native to that planet. Did you not?
Yes, ma'am. We seem to the population, one of the factions that was part of the population seemed to deceive people from other worlds to come down to the planet and turn over technology. That seemed to be their scheme all along. We did find more than one artifacts that appear to be orbs of the prophets. I think the Bajoran people will be very interested to learn of that.
Given the situation on the planet, is that something we should inform them of?
I would recommend that we do so. That we tell the Bajorans that we found orbs of the prophets on another world.
As of now, Lieutenant, I would just suggest you keep that to yourself, and your suggestion will be brought to the Federation to make the final decision. But when you return back to Deep Space Nine, do not make mention of these orbs to anyone else until the Federation has an opportunity to make a decision, and possibly even discussions at that point with the provisional government of Bajor about if that is something that they wish to pursue or not to pursue.
I understand, Captain.
I would also recommend that you focus at your court-martial on the fact that there is lots of stolen technology on that planet, that might bring you some leniency in your court-martial.
I appreciate your recommendation, Captain.
Godspeed, Lieutenant.
He just kind of hangs his head and turns off the screen.
All right. That is the end of our session.
Cool, man. That was great. Thank you.
Thank you. No, it was great. I'm really liking doing these one-on-one sessions. I find them great. They give great opportunities to do a lot of different things I normally wouldn't get to do. So,
yeah, agreed. I think that the supporting character mechanics are really awesome for having like some sidekicks that bring some other skills and talents to the table. Yeah, this is really fun.
Yeah. Oh, good. I'm glad you liked it. I liked it a lot too. So
yeah, I did too. Thank you, Thomas. I'm going to end the broadcast now.
All right.